Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 111 of the Run in the Paint podcast. I'm Miles here with Nick. Nick, how are you doing today?
Good, man. One of the best sports days I think of the year so far. We got opening day in the MLB. It's like one of those equinox things where we got March Madness, Sweet 16 on the same day. But we're here to talk on the sports equinox sort of day. LeBron and Stephen A. beef.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot to talk about today. LeBron had quite the day on Wednesday. We'll just call it that. And Stephen A. going back at him on Thursday. Definitely a lot to go over here today. But first, let's start off with the Pertl. Nick, who should we guess for our first player?
Oh, that's a good question. With no time to think, let's go Steven Adams.
All right, Steven Adams on the Rockets, on Jackson Goglin's Rockets. All right.
Great.
This isn't bad, though. Super old guy.
Yeah.
Super old guy who's an Eastern Conference forward or center. I never know really can tell like what this means, but a higher jersey number. All right.
What number's Kevin Love wearing now?
Kevin Love is the number 42.
Or Al Horford?
Same
he's a
as
center.
Horford. Let's see. I guess do we want to try another like a forward guy, or do we want to try like a guard to try to figure out this position too?
What does that mean? I feel like it would be a forward.
It probably would be maybe a forward / center. So you might be right. You want center. I guess you want to try. I mean, Kevin Love because he's shorter than Al Horford. So we'll try Kevin Love, who's been on fire at social media himself.
Oh, we got it. Look at that.
Look at that in two. Dude, Kevin Love has been on fire in social media the whole season. He's been the social media MVP, and finally he's the Pertl player. Got it in two. That is what we needed.
Did you see his Gabagool video recently?
Oh, I'm sure I did. But
he was in a sweatsuit. Said, "Who's got the freaking Gabagool?" He is the king of social media this year for sure.
MVP. Oh, he has been with everything going on. We thought that after the Jimmy Butler trade that it might simmer down a little bit, but then this LeBron, Stephen A. Smith thing comes up and it just keeps on going. Well, let's get right into it. So Wednesday, LeBron, a day in Indianapolis. Who knew that LeBron in Indianapolis would turn into all this craziness? It all started when he was on the Pat McAfee show on ESPN Wednesday afternoon, I guess. And he talked about a whole lot of things. I mean, it was an over an hour type of show where he basically just covered so many things throughout his career. First of all, if you guys out there haven't seen the full video, definitely would recommend watching or at least some of the snippets. Because, I mean, for me personally, it was just super cool to see him finally really talk unfiltered about his career and a lot of different things about his career, because we haven't really seen him do that a lot throughout his 22 years. Throughout his 22 years. So it was cool to see all that happen. But, the big thing that everyone's talking about today is LeBron addressing the Stephen A. Smith confrontation that he had earlier in the season to defend, his family, to defend Bronny. And he talked about that on the Pat McAfee show. And then we come out a day later, today as we're recording, and Stephen A. Smith was basically spent a full 15 to 16 minute segment on ESPN digging back at LeBron. Nick, what's your reaction?
Yeah, just to be clear, like you said, LeBron covered a lot of stuff in the McAfee podcast. It was over an hour of him in really a different light and hearing from a different perspective than we get to see because it was totally unfiltered. But he talked about the thing that happened at the Garden between the two of them before like 2 minutes of the podcast. And like you said, Stephen A. went on TV and talked about it for 15 minutes. He's been talking about it all week. So, I mean, I get that they have two different jobs, and his job is to get people to watch him, while as LeBron's job, he takes care of that stuff on the court. But I don't know, he's saying a lot, like calling him a liar, saying that he'll be nice to your face, but he's got the ammo to stab you in the back whenever he wants. It's a lot of talk.
It is. It's a lot of nonsense is really what it is. I mean, he's saying that he would, throw hands with LeBron the next time that happened if it wasn't in public or whatever. Bringing up LeBron not being at Kobe Bryant's memorial, even though LeBron was. And Stephen A clarified that on Twitter, but then he said, everything else I said stands. Thank you, everyone. It's like, dude.
Do you know what the initial thing was that happened between them on what it says March 6th at the Garden?
The confrontation, LeBron went up to Stephen A. Smith, went face to face and talked with him. After Stephen A. has been talking all season long about, Bronny. And that's really what the deal was. LeBron, you've never seen anything like that before from LeBron, but obviously, as it probably would for, any professional athlete, when it hits family, then it hits even more home and it makes you do different things and you want to stand up for your family. I even remember, I don't know if it was this year or last season when Joel Embiid, there was where a reporter went at his brother or something, and Embiid went back at the report. You can't draw the line as the media. There is a job that you have to do, but you shouldn't draw the line, especially with Bronny and LeBron. That's something that has been heavily talked about the whole season from a whole media perspective. Not something that we have talked about because there's really I think it's a whole lot of nonsense to try to shine a whole lot of light on a 55th overall pick who we weren't sure if he would be playing basketball. He was facing cardiac, arrest a year ago. And he's an NBA player in the G League. He's been fantastic. And recently when he's gotten his chances in the pros with the Lakers and the NBA, the big club, he's been playing a lot better. So all the talk was really nonsense. And I would have probably done the same thing if I was LeBron,
Yeah, I just saw the clip from them in the Garden, and it just looks like LeBron kind of, like you said, went up to him face to face and got personal and was animated a bit and making a point proved.
Yeah, no question about it. So that's something that was heavily on the headlines.
Definitely go watch that podcast.
What?
And definitely go watch that Unfiltered pod with Pat McAfee and check out what Stephen A's been saying.
Yeah, to get both sides on it, because that's definitely been key. You may have already, heard everything you need to hear from all the media coverage. It's been everywhere all day long, even covering some of the bigger, news headlines of the actual things going on the basketball floor. But sticking with LeBron and the Pat McAfee show for a little bit. So there was a little bit more that he went into, obviously, besides the Stephen A. Smith. As you said, he only talked about it for 2-3 minutes or whatever. There were some interesting things that were brought up in that conversation. He talked about his coverage in the media, and just about how he's been covered throughout the league. And that was really interesting to hear him talk about his perspective of the decision back in 2010, when overall it was a personal career decision that he made. He felt that he had, as he said, squeezed all the juice out of the lemon in Cleveland the first 7 years, taking that team to incredible heights. He even said, looking back on the 2007 finals team, he's like, how did I do that? Which is true. It's unbelievable. I don't know if we'll ever see anything like that again. But he was even talking about Brian Windhorst and kind of dissing him a little bit, which was, I don't know how to really feel about that, because Brian Windhorst has covered, LeBron, his whole career.
What was he saying that was dissing him?
Basically says he acts like he's my best friend. And that's just not the case at all.
Do you think Windhorst? I don't think he acts like that.
No, I don't think so. I think he's covered LeBron across the way. They're both basically came from the same area. LeBron and Brian Windhorst met 25 years ago. And Windhorst being an Ohio guy, of course he's going to, cover him, throughout his career, especially considering he started his career with both of them started their respective careers with the Cavaliers. I don't Brian Windhorst actually, he addressed it later and basically took the high road, saying that LeBron really doesn't owe that really to the media. He's been one of the most accessible superstar goats, in all
Yeah.
of sports. I mean, really, whenever you need to talk to him, you can if you're a reporter, and that's always been great to see. He hasn't really been bad to the media at all throughout his career, unless there's a dumb question that gets asked or whatever. Real quick note. I just saw this in live time. We're recording this on Thursday night. LeBron and the Lakers are in Chicago to take on the Bulls, and Josh Giddey just made a half-court game winner at the buzzer to beat the Lakers. So the Lakers lose twice to the Bulls in a
Tough
week.
loss. Yikes.
Incredible. That's incredible. But anyways, moving on here. Something that is always talked about with LeBron, they didn't get into like the GOAT conversation or whatever. They did talk about, LeBron's relationship with Michael Jordan, and he said they don't talk at all. But LeBron thinks that's because he's still playing now. He thinks that they're going to develop a great relationship kind of post-career, which would be great to see. I would love for LeBron and Michael Jordan to have that type of relationship.
It'd be some good content if they could put it out together.
Yeah, if they did like a sit-down thing and it was just those two talking, that'd be the most incredible thing that a basketball fan could see. But something that does get talked about a lot is comparing eras, comparing players in different eras. And LeBron, the big quote that stood out was LeBron said that Giannis Antetokounmpo could have scored 250 points in a game in the 70s.
What the heck?
Yeah, this is the thing where I think LeBron is exaggerating a little bit, but I mean, it's honestly, I think the comparing eras thing is a little distasteful. I mean, there's no way to really know, but I mean, guys like LeBron, even Kyrie Irving, LeBron mentioned as well, and Giannis easily could have played in the 70s with the skill and the talent and the physicality and all that. They could have all played.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't really know how much weight to put into the 250-point thing, but I see his I see where he's coming from.
Yeah, no question. But
his line of thinking.
Yeah, the final thing we got from the Pat McAfee show, which was cool, it actually got revealed earlier in the day, is that the Mind the Game podcast, that LeBron was doing with now head coach JJ Redick last year, is actually going to return on April 1st on Tuesday, and he's going to do it with Steve Nash.
Oh, heck yeah.
Which is going to be really cool. I am very excited to see it return. And, LeBron and Steve Nash, two of the best playmakers in the history of the game, talking hoops and X's and O's. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
And then, of course, following the Pat McAfee show, the Lakers are in Indianapolis to play the Pacers on ESPN. LeBron struggling through the first three quarters, didn't have a field goal, and then gets the game-winning tip-in at the buzzer, his 8th career game-winning buzzer beater. Just an insane, crazy, wild day in the life of LeBron James that day. And now the next day gets hit with a half-court game-winning buzzer beater. That's insane.
It's the roller coaster of the NBA, baby.
Yeah. And it looks like the Lakers were up by 5 with 12 seconds left and lost it at the
They were up most of the game versus Indy, I thought.
They were, and then they nearly lost it. But they were able to hold on in that one and then lose the very next night in Chicago. So crazy stuff there for LeBron and the Lakers. Moving on here to some other news around the basketball world. Some sad news from Tuesday night. Received word that Milwaukee Bucks point guard Damian Lillard has been diagnosed with deep vein thrombosis in his right calf, a blood clot. And we just had the Victor Wembanyama blood clot that that came out about a month ago as well. I mean, it's just crazy, just horrible news.
Yeah, it's tough for the Bucks because, they were hitting their stride a little bit here, battling back from a tough beginning of their season, and now just going forward without Dame is going to be rough.
And we haven't received word yet on whether or not he's going to miss the rest of the season, but I mean, I would have to assume that he's probably going to be out. I mean, there's no way to really tell. As we've said before, it's a case-by-case situation. But, I mean, there's only like 2 weeks to go till the playoffs, and this is nothing to, take lightly at all.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to do our dream first-round matchups here in a second, and the Bucks are like the 6th seed right now. So they're going to be playing, Indy, New York, or Detroit, and going against any of those teams without Dame becomes a much more daunting task in a
Yeah,
7-game series.
yeah, no question. And it just stinks, man. This is year 2, of course, with Lillard and
Yeah,
Giannis there. And if Lillard doesn't come back, no playoff games with those two in the lineup. Of course, they lose to Indiana last year because Giannis is out the whole series. Lillard gets banged up. I mean, arguably their second best player that series was Middleton, who's now traded for Kuzma, who's been a little iffy or whatever. But right now, Milwaukee is 40-32. They're 6th in the East, as Nick said. They're a half game behind the Pistons, 2.5 behind the Pacers, who have been playing very good basketball as of late. They just put up 162 points on the Washington Wizards.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah, I know it's the Wizards, but still just incredible. But the two big things going for the Bucks is that their remaining schedule isn't too crazy. They have a big game tonight against the New York Knicks, who are still without Jalen Brunson. Their two teams are kind of in the similar position right there. So the Bucks have to take advantage of that at home. And then the rest of the season is pretty winnable. They play the Hawks, the Suns, the Sixers, Pelicans twice, Pistons twice to close out the year. Those are the two big games. And then they play the Heat and the Timberwolves as well in the middle of that stretch as well. So they're going to have to take care of business. And of course, they have Giannis, who's been so incredible this season. It's just going to be important for them to finish the season off on a strong note and try to get some sort of favorable matchup here, because it's going to be difficult. I mean, there's no way around it.
Yeah, it's kind of like a bit like the Suns. Like, you made this huge swing for the Suns, Kevin Durant, and you've only won one playoff series. And now the Bucks, who have not blown up their championship roster. Like, there was a couple years in between where it kind of felt like maybe their roster had peaked and it was time to go a different direction. But there's no Drew Holiday, there's no Chris Middleton anymore, and you haven't played a playoff game with Dame or Giannis, and we're going into year 3 next year, and those guys aren't getting any younger. Their contracts aren't getting any less expensive. So it's just a crappy situation for Milwaukee.
Yeah, you wonder what this does end up meaning for the Milwaukee Bucks franchise, especially if they're not able to make it even out of the first round. I mean, they need to get a favorable, playoff matchup here, most likely either 5th or 6th. I mean, it'll be tough for them to get home court advantage, although they do have the season series, I believe, against Indy, if that did come down to a tiebreaker situation. So they'll have to reel off a bunch in a row here to get themselves in the best position, because I mean, in any playoff series in the Eastern Conference, they are going to have the best player in the series.
Correct.
Because Giannis, I mean, he's been that good this year. I mean, I would say, been the 3rd best player in the league this season, probably 3rd in MVP. So that's what they have going for them. The thing is, the reason why, teams like Boston, Cleveland, New York, even Indy are at the top of the conference are because they are getting it done as a collective. And it's not just one star player and a bunch of role players getting it done.
Yeah, that's right.
So that'll be something to watch as the rest of the season goes along here. Oh, before we get to our dream playoff scenarios, actually, real quick, I want to give quick shout outs to teams that are on hot streaks right now. Namely, the Celtics in the Eastern Conference have been playing fantastic. Kristaps Porzingis, after missing a few games with the viral illness or whatever, has come back, and he has looked ridiculous. I mean, they just killed the Suns, who had been playing great Wednesday night.
They had
go ahead.
10 threes in the first quarter in that game. It is a different team when KP is out there. They didn't even have Tatum out there, but it's a different team when Porzingis is lighting it up from the arc.
Yeah, I mean, my personal stance on the season is that if the Boston Celtics have Kristaps Porzingis in the lineup, they're the favorite. And if he's not, then they can lose. I think Porzingis is probably the big X factor for the whole title.
Well, he's their best rim protector too.
Best rim protector, probably their best deep shooter. I mean, he stretches the defense out to 30 plus feet.
Yeah, it's insane.
It is insane. So the Celtics in the East are definitely looking in form at the perfect time as well. The Cavs have started to pick it up as well after their 4-game losing streak. In the Western Conference, Oklahoma City Thunder just won their 8th straight game in a row. They're now 61-12.
Jeez.
And last night, the victory against the Memphis Grizzlies was ridiculous. They were, I'm going to try to find the exact run they went on because it was like a 3-point game with 6 minutes to go or something like that. And they won the game by 21 points. They
shoot.
took over. Yeah, let me find here. Yeah, it was 99-97 Memphis with 7.5 to go. And the final score was 125-104 OKC. They finished on a 28-5 run to close out the game. So whatever, I mean, the Thunder version of a Cavalanche is,
yeah,
we're going to have to figure out a term for that because they've had a lot of those this year.
Thunder strike.
Yeah, we're gonna have to find something for any crazy Thunder run. Houston, we talked about them a lot. They're 9-1 in their last 10. Want to talk quickly about the LA Clippers here because the way that Kawhi Leonard has been playing in the month of March and James Harden, Zubats, Norman Powell, they're 8-2 in their last 10 games, looking fantastic on both ends of the floor. I mean, they're the second best defense in the league. And all those potential, scores, they have so many veterans, so much playoff experience. Nick, do you think that the Clippers could be any sort of threat come postseason time? Or is this that another one of those times throughout the season with the LA Clippers where, they're fooling us with this great play? Because, it seems to happen every year with this team.
I think you're going to have to wait until we get to our predictions.
Oh, all right. That's very true. Well, let's get into our dream playoff standings, scenarios, whatever you want to call it. The way I formulated it for each conference, I basically did, I guess, my 1 through 8 to try to get the first round matchups that I would personally want to see, and then that would lead into potential second round conference final matchups as well. Nick, where do you want to start? You want to start East or West?
West.
All right, let's start with the West. Where do you want to start? Do you just want to reel off the list? Or
no, let's start. I'm just going to hop down to this 3-6 that I want to see because it is the Clippers. And I'm hoping that Houston can hold on to the 2 seed and that Denver slips to the 3 because I want to see the Clippers play Denver because I do think that would be a great matchup that the Clippers would have a good shot in because Zubats is a great, not Jokic stopper, but great matchup. If you're gonna get someone to guard him, or that's a good matchup to have. When there aren't a lot of great options for a matchup for Jokic, but if Kawhi and Harden are making that offense roll, and you got Powell on the wing, I think that's a lot of offense for Denver to stop with Jamal Murray and Christian Brown and them on the perimeter. So. Yeah, I would have Denver 3 and the Clippers 6 with Houston as a 2 seed, and I have the Lakers all the way down here because I do want to. That's what I would want to see is Houston and LA.
Oh wow! What? So the Lakers down to 7?
Yeah,
because there is the possibility that the Rockets could move down to 4. Right. That's a 4-5.
The other thing you could do is have Denver go 2 and LAC go 7, and then have Houston go 3 and Lakers go 6. Those are the matchups I want to see.
Yeah, those are definitely great matchups. The Clippers, I personally think the Clippers could be a threat come playoff time. You just think, what do they really not have when they're all going? They have the coaching, they have experience.
They don't have pace or transition defense. I think they can get outrun.
Yeah, they could get outrun a little bit because they do play at a little more slower pace. They definitely Clippers are a team that may rely on heavy isolation in order to get things isolation and pick and roll with Big Zoo down low and get him post touches. So I guess that would be the thing. The Clippers' strategy in the playoffs is going to be to try to slow things down a little bit and just make it a gritty, grinded out series. And personally for me, that's why I'd be interested in seeing a 2-7 matchup with the Clippers and the Rockets. Because the Rockets kind of play a similar game, and the Rockets have been so good this season. I mean, them as the 2 seed. I mean, I would just love to see what would happen in a series like that with all the experience in the world, basically, versus a team that doesn't really have a ton of experience outside of, Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks a little bit. But they do have great coaching as well. But Rockets should be confident, especially if they're a number 2 seed. I would just love to see how that would go if the Rockets, how they would respond in that type of series.
Yeah. My thought for Houston, LA was like watching Jalen Green and Amen versus LeBron and Luka, sort of.
Yeah.
That'd be good, fun matchups on the perimeter, I think.
Yeah, I think so as well. I mean, look, any sort of matchup you get in the Western Conference, I think is going to be a pretty good one. You can't really go wrong.
True. So the reason that I had in the top part, I got 4-5 is Memphis as a 4 and Golden State as a 5.
Ooh, Memphis.
And I just thought that like Memphis would be a good team that could run LAC out of the like they can get up and down in transition. I just thought the better matchup would be with Golden State, and so that's what I would want to see. And then I had OKC and Minnesota as my 1-8.
Yeah, I think OKC Minnesota is a good first round matchup. Because Minnesota does have the defense to try and slow down the Thunder a little bit. I don't know if they'd have enough scoring, but that's Shea versus Anthony Edwards. I mean, that'd be a great, even one-on-one matchup. But down the board, I've got Thunder Timberwolves is the 1-8, Rockets Clippers is the 2-7. 3-6, I have probably the media's darling matchup. I have Lakers Warriors in the 3-6 because that's what everyone in the media would probably want to see. But that would be awesome as a series. With the way Golden State has been playing, besides the Jimmy Butler return game to Miami. But Steph Curry's been out, so his health is obviously going to be important. But I mean, just to see Steph and LeBron, one more time in a playoff series with their new additions that have been huge for their teams, Luka with the Lakers, Jimmy Butler with Golden State. I think that'd be fun in a 3-6 matchup. And then Denver-Memphis in the 4-5 matchup, strictly because Memphis has Jaren Jackson and Zach Edey, the size to try to guard Jokic, and they're a fast team to try to get up a whole lot of points on Denver. So I think that could go a long way through.
Yeah, that would be a great matchup, Denver-Memphis.
Yeah, man. And then I guess, I don't know, would you want to look ahead to second round match? I mean, I don't know. It's always hard to tell because you can't really pick. It's hard to pick like even these first round series.
Just tell me who you want to see in the Western Conference Finals versus OKC.
Who do I want to see in the Western Conference Finals?
Because the seeding will have to do with it. Like if Denver slips to a 4, that'll be a second round matchup.
That's a second round matchup. That's right. And I think that'd be fun as well. I mean, OKC, that's the thing that's so crazy about this. Like they've been clearly the most dominant team in the West all season long, but this could be one of those years where they could either honestly roll through the West because they've just been that good, or because of what everyone talks about, the lack of experience, lack of playoff experience, if that will hinder them going forward. So that's why I'd be down to a Lakers Thunder conference final. But I guess preferably, I think that the two best teams in the West are OKC and Denver.
Yeah.
So I think that would end up being the technical Western Conference final. Because I think that would just be the closest series. I think that definitely would be the closest series because LA does not have the size to guard OKC. I don't think that LA go in the playoffs will be able to get by the lack of center play basically twice with OKC and Cleveland or Boston, whoever comes out of the East. I don't think that they'll be able to get away with it twice.
I agree. I'd like to see OKC in Denver. I think it's going to be hard for the Lakers to get there because I think that they'll likely be in the 4th or 5th spot, which means they'll be playing them in the second round.
Yeah, that would definitely make it difficult. But yeah, definitely a whole lot of fun matchups, man. I cannot wait to see what happens in the Western Conference with still just a few weeks to go. Moving on to the Eastern Conference, where do you want to start with the East?
Why don't you take us through?
All right, I'll start us off with the Eastern Conference. So, because of the, I guess, I mean, the way that everything is playing out, I mean, I've said it plenty of times before on this podcast. I want to see a Pacers Pistons first round matchup. So I want that to be the 4-5. I want to see Indy and
Okay.
Detroit literally battle it out in the first round because there is going to be some bad blood between those two teams. I mean, originally, I think Milwaukee, Indiana would have been a fun matchup, but if Lillard is not there, I don't really think I want to see it.
Yeah.
So I think Pacers Pistons would be fun, for the 4-5 matchup. And then Knicks Bucks, I think would be fun in the 3-6, because I think Giannis, the Knicks have some good perimeter, defenders, but they have definitely struggled at times defensively this year. They have not been the best defensive team, at all. They have been pretty inconsistent. So Giannis has the potential to kind of tear that apart a little bit. And they do have a lot of size. When you take a look at their starting five, they start Taurean Prince at the 2 with Kuzma, Giannis, and Lopez together. I mean, that's a big team that could maybe do some things defensively. And that's why they have a decent defensive rating, recently. But I think those are the two key matchups that I would like to see a lot.
Yeah. I have the exact opposite. I have the Pacers Bucks 3-6 matchup, because I just think those teams are really evenly matched. And they've had some bad blood between them as well.
Very true.
With some previous playoff battles. And yeah, that's what I got. I think that'd be a good matchup. And then I got the Knicks Pistons is the 4-5, obviously. I would like to see Indy jump up to the 3 spot. That way we can take care of the Knicks in the second round. As the Cavs.
That's part of it. I mean, us as the Cavs fans here, I mean, you'd want things to kind of be favorable and that sort of thing. I mean, in the second round, whether it's the Pacers or I guess really the Pacers. I mean, the Pacers are probably the team that I'd be a little bit worried about because of all the things they can do defensively.
Plus, if we're talking second round match, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
If we're talking second round matchups, Pacers Celtics is a good match, like a fun matchup. Eastern Conference Final rematch from last year.
Yeah, that'd be a fun matchup. I wouldn't mind that. So for the 1-8, 2-7 matchups, I mean, those you expect them to be shorter series. So, I mean, just looking at it as a non-biased, NBA fan, the matchups that I would probably want in order to get the more competitive series that are longer would probably be the way that it is now. If we got a Cavs Magic playoff rematch with the defensive, tenacity that they have and the bad blood, you could say, that they have, from the 7-game series last year, and Celtics Hawks, because the Hawks took a few games from the Celtics early in the year. I know they're not the same team, but they are playing better as of late. And even like in 2023, 2 years ago, these two teams met in the first round, and the Hawks took 2 games off the Celtics. They took the first round series to 6 games. So I think that's kind of what you want to see from these early matchups, unless you're the fan of the higher seed, obviously. You want to see those kind of go a little bit further than expected.
Yeah, it makes for good basketball and more incentive for the guys, for the players, which is fun to watch. I actually have it flipped. I have Cavs Hawks. And
Celtics it makes it work. It would be boring if we had the same thing. It works perfectly.
I think it'd be fun to watch Karras and George Niang come back for a playoff series in Cleveland.
Yeah, I
for
agree.
the trade that went down to result in a 7-game battle. But honestly, the reason that I ranked it this way, Cavs, Hawks, Knicks, Pistons, Celtics, Magic, Pacers, Bucks, was for the second round matchups. I'd like to see Cavs, Knicks, Pacers, Celtics.
I'd love that, man. 2 playoff rematches.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, interestingly, the Pacers, this may be more competitive, Pacers Celtics, than the conference finals was. I mean, the Pacers have been so good this year. And the Cavs have grown so much since that first round series. That would be the true test to see whether or not things are different. I think things are a lot different from 2 years ago, but that would be the way to find out. I mean, pretty much, I mean, in the Eastern Conference, I think all NBA fans would think that if it isn't a Cleveland-Boston conference final, it's a failure for whichever team isn't able to make it. It's hard to kind of even put a a hand on like what team may have the best shot, it may be the Pacers.
I would say the Pacers right now, yeah.
I
Just because
probably
I don't trust the Knicks defense, and Jalen Brunson hasn't been there in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'd probably say the Pacers as well. Because the Pistons inexperience, Milwaukee basically only having Giannis, but again, them having the best player could definitely, mean something. But yeah, probably the Pacers would probably be the team to make an upset, in the Eastern Conference. But I hope that we don't really get any crazy upsets throughout the playoffs, because I've always been one to say that. I want to see close series, but when you get an upset in the first or second round, the better team is most likely always going to end up winning going forward.
Right.
So whether it's a Pacers from last year, the Miami Heat 8th seed to the NBA Finals, eventually that team is going to get smacked by the best team. So I just hope that we are able to get a great conference final, great NBA Finals, because we haven't really had that in a while. And that's really all I want. I want to see healthy basketball, good basketball, and the best teams make it all the way through.
Lakers versus Cavs.
Lakers versus Cavs. Is that what? I guess Would that be what is your dream finals matchup?
Yeah, it's that.
Yeah, Lakers Cavs.
Definitely.
Yeah, I guess dream matchup. For the storyline, it probably would be Lakers Cavs. That probably would be the dream matchup there. But for the basketball sense, I hope that we do end up getting a Thunder Cavs finals, so that the fans respect these teams, because both these teams don't really have the respect, despite them really dominating the whole season. I mean, these two teams have been eons above everyone else the whole year. And because they haven't gone, deep in the playoffs yet, some fans are like, oh, the Timberwolves, because they have a conference final, and they have a shot over the, So I just hope that those two teams can at least make it super far, so that they get the respect.
Well, we're saying that. I mean, we both had Minnesota OKC in the first round. We're kind of saying that too.
Well, yeah, but not that I'm not saying that the Wolves would win that series.
No.
But yeah, man. Quicker episode, not as much to talk about today, but that LeBron stuff definitely covering a whole lot in our dream playoff scenarios. Let us know in the comments down below your dream playoff matchups for the first round. Of course, we still have a few more weeks to go. Nick, you got anything else?
Shout out JG for bringing home a Cavs win.
Yeah, he was at the Spurs Cavs game last night. So shout out to Jackson, and shout out to Joey, man. It was great to have the full 4-man podcast. Hopefully we can get it back for Tuesday, which is going to be a fun one. You guys better tune in to Tuesday's podcast, because we have a lot of fun things in store for that episode. But until then, that's it for this one. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe for more NBA content. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Peace.